and what you want to do with your life. And few things are as important as the topic we're going to talk about, your sleep. You know, if you don't sleep, your brain doesn't work. It's that simple. And once that happens, your body's systems start to fail. And it starts out subtle, but it gets pretty bad as time goes by. Who here has never had trouble sleeping? We got one person. And that's about what the literature says. It's about 1 to 2% of the population. They sleep good. Doesn't matter what you do. You shoot them in the head, they still sleep fine. But it's just an anomaly in the population, we think. So the best way to make sure you don't sleep is to have a lot of adrenaline. Adrenaline is a stress hormone. It's a stress hormone that gives you a lot of energy. It's the stress hormone, one of the most important ones when you're in the fight or flight reflex. That it's called the fight or flight response. I'm here to tell you it's not a response, because it's a reflex. A reflex is something that has to happen automatically. You don't have choice. You're pushed into it automatically. And so when it comes to sleep, most of the things are automatic. Sleep is basically based on breathing. There are 120 diagnoses in sleep medicine in America today, 120. Exactly 100 of them are simply breathing problems. Like, everybody's heard of sleep apnea. That's one, but there's 99 others that are just problems with breathing. And most of the time, those are problems that a person has generated, adopted, it's been created through some sort of stress mechanism in their life. So what we want to do is, I want to have you guys go home with a couple of nuggets that you can use tonight about your sleep. Nugget number 1. When you are going into your bedroom, you're starting the process, the protocol of getting ready for bed. You need to be closed for business. I'm talking about your mind. And it's a really good thing to visually see an old-fashioned sign. You turn it around, I'm closed for business. And who you're really closed for business for? Anybody tell me? Yourself. Because I know nobody here has a busy mind, right? Nobody here's got a busy mind. Do you know why you have a busy mind? Because you're stressed and you have adrenaline in your body pumping through your veins. So how do you get adrenaline to come down? How do you get cortisol and norepinephrine, those 3 stress hormones, the 3 black hats of our physiology in terms of what is going to keep you in an excited state? You've heard of the term homeostasis, yes? Most people? Yeah. So homeostasis is a term that just means that your body, your brain is always going to try and come back in for a landing. It's going to always try to find an equilibrium. If you're too excited, your brain and your body is built. And when I say built, there are sensors, specific sensors in your body throughout your skin, your muscles, your organs. And there's something called effectors. This will be on the test in about 10 minutes. The effectors, they actually cause a change. When your brain detects that your blood pressure is a little too high, it can pull it down on its own by dilating the vessels in your body. This is all happening without us ever knowing or feeling anything. So the best thing to do is to start with, I'm closed for business to my mind. And so what will happen? You're laying there and you're going, okay, this is what I got to do tomorrow. You got to say no. And the momentum that all of your brains have, it's like a freight train. It's going to resist you at first. But in just a couple of nights, you'll wait and see. You'll see that your brain starts to go, oh, wait a minute, I'm supposed to be doing something different. Like not thinking and ruminating about things. How many people here have anxiety? So most of you here, do that again. I want everybody to look around. Look how common anxiety is. Anxiety is a breathing problem. It's not a psychological problem. That's how we feel it. And if you recall, you're going to bed with anxiety, you do not go to sleep. If you do, you wake right back up in a startled way most of the time, and you try to do it all over again. Underlying anxiety, we ask this question. How many here have had trouble with depression? Okay. Almost the same number, and that's about right. Depression and anxiety are the opposite sides of the same coin. Why we get anxiety is we're future worry. Future worry. Depression is worry and concern about the past. If your brain comes into the moment, it's not physically possible for you to feel anxiety or depression. Now, who believes me in what I just said? Who doesn't believe what I just said? Come on, I know there has a guy. So, in just a couple of minutes, we can do this later on. I'm going to encourage you to have as much depression and anxiety as you can muster. And I'm going to just take you through a short breathing process. And I'm going to say, where's your anxiety and depression? You're going to go, I can't feel it. So you're going to know it's there somewhere. But the reason why this is so is that our fight or flight is hooked into these stress hormones and our breathing. And as soon as you start to breathe a little too fast, that fight or flight starts to come on. But fight or flight isn't just excitement. Think of your brain as having, it's kind of like the earth, where you got the crust on the outside, and in the middle is the core. The core of your brain, my brain, everybody's brain, is called the limbic system. It's where the fight or flight comes from, where it's processed, where all the feelings and thoughts, and you notice that it's always primitive. That's why fight or flight gets people in trouble. That's when we do bad stuff. Human beings do bad stuff when they're really bored and when they're really stressed. My first mentor said to me and the small group that he was working with, he said, the biggest problem you are ever going to face is managing your boredom. Because when you get bored, that's when you go, I wonder what it's like to crash the car on purpose just for fun. You know, we do crazy, stupid stuff. Harmful stuff to ourselves, to other people. That limbic system, the core of your brain, okay? It's a tyrant. I know you all think you're really nice people and all the things. You are. But every one of you has a limbic system. And you get that limbic system spun up, she ain't nice. That's the part of you that does sign language when somebody cuts you off. You ever know somebody is driving somebody that's a very, very sweet, nice person, and they go, you know, that's the tyrant. That's the limbic system exploding onto the scene. And what your mind tells you is that it just appeared like magic. I'm here to tell you that's not what happened. What happened is background stress, just outside your periphery, has been building up and building and building. And then somebody just goes, bup, and you blow. Has anybody not had that experience? Yeah, because we've had the same situation. One time we react terribly, the other time we have no reaction. What's the difference? The amount of stress in the background. There's something called signal-to-noise ratio in studying wave patterns and sound and radiation. These wave patterns have certain characteristics. And our brain has these wave patterns that have certain characteristics. And we can look at these wave patterns with sophisticated machinery and tell exactly what's going on in that mind. And we've been able to use these devices to guide treatments of various kinds. When it comes to the treatment that we offer, I spent 3 weeks in a neural laboratory at Arizona State University, some of the most fun I've ever had in my life. They had 29 gadgets to measure your brain, even one to measure your aura scientifically. Like, no kidding, it was really, really cool. What we found was, for the people that we measured, when they had their limbic system, when they were spun up on stress, every single part of their brain was not normal. They didn't have the proper blood supply to the front part of your brain. We call this hyperperfusion. Perfusion is just, where does that liquid blood go? If I'm trying to think through something and I'm having a hard time concentrating, it's going to be because my limbic is too active and my breathing isn't doing too well. It's always going to be those same things. The game is, how do you control the stress hormones? If you can control the stress hormones, you can harness the power of your brain. Here's the power of your brain. Everybody here, 130 trillion computations a second. Putting that in perspective, in 2009, not that long ago, the United States built a computer called the Roadrunner, and it just passed the processing speed of the human brain. But there's a catch. It occupied 24 acres of space and weighed 6,000 tons. It's roughly the size of a small battleship. We do that in about a quart and a half, and about 3 pounds. So the resource that's here is incredible. Stress will stop you from using that resource. The idea that what doesn't kill you makes you better, okay, that's really stupid. Everybody's heard that, right? Because what doesn't kill you is going to make you better. What are we talking about? We're talking about trauma, right? I mean, brass tacks, it's about trauma. Something is really significant. And that trauma changes how your body breathes and how your mind thinks. And most people, statistically, 85% of the people in this room have a significant trauma in your background, and it means that you don't use your diaphragm to breathe properly. And somebody in here is thinking, I can feel it. Oh, I know how to use my diaphragm. Watch, my belly goes back and forth. There's nothing to do with using your diaphragm whatsoever, not even a little. If you're not using your diaphragm, here's what happens. There's a region in your lungs called the optimal region of gas exchange. They could have had a lot better name to it, I'm sorry. That region is, when you bring air in the diaphragm, the air goes to that region. There's 7 times more oxygen transport capacity there than the above parts of the lungs. So it's a simple math problem. Your diaphragm's the only way to get air into that area. Mechanically. Can't get it any other way. This is why the diaphragm is irreplaceable. It's not like you're going to figure out a breathing technique somewhere in India that's going to help you take the place of the diaphragm. That's not physically possible. If you think it is, I want to see you flap your arms and fly out of the room. It's just impossible. So not having your diaphragm working for you means that you will never be able to concentrate at the level that you can. One of the things I've found in my 35 years is that people don't like limitation. They don't want a limitation put on them. your expression, your intelligence. Everybody knows here how smart they are. How many people in here can use all the smarts that they have? Exactly. That's funny. So if you want to use more of your smarts, if you want to sleep well, you got to breathe well. If you want to use your intelligence and your creativity and bring your passion forward in a way that's only you, you have to have this one muscle working for you. It's why I call it the sanity muscle. If it's not working, you're not going to feel sane. I'm not sitting here saying you're not sane because you don't breathe right. Ask your own self. Do you feel well balanced? Do you feel like yourself? So what we do at Total Relief Method is we remove this suffering because it's totally curable and superfluous. You don't need this suffering. Life's hard enough. Don't let your body, brain, sleep, suffer because you can't use one muscle in your body. Thank you for your attention. Oh, I have, this is basically the second chapter of a book I'm just about to publish. I brought it because it's about sleep issues and it covers a bunch of stuff. So if you're interested in getting this, we're just going to send a PDF out to you just for fun. So anybody who wants to get this, just see Miss Patty in the green back there and she'll take care of you. Hi, Shane. Thank you.
Absolutely. Plenty of food, plenty of beverages, and also we're doing a raffle. So over there, there's a little raffle box with some slips of paper. I want all of you guys to fill one out because we have some really great things to give away. We have some sheets from Custom Comfort Mattress. We have a bottle of wine that's really yummy that isn't here. We got 2 candles from Leafella, which are we don't have any clothing on that. So those are really intense. And then we are also raffling off our recovery session. Our recovery session is 2 hours long. It includes a consultation that we done and we calibrate your diaphragm.
Great. Thank you. Very good. You too. We'll get together.
And you give
Sounds great to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for coming.
So you're clenching your jaw and holding it down. You're experiencing headaches or migraines. This will really help as well. So I invite you to go over, fill out a form, and we'll do a raffle here in a little bit. So get those slips in, and obviously we've got our wonderful vendors. Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, so they also have raffles. Yeah. We'll just put it on here. So just fill out those forms and prizes galore. I want.